ruling on same-sex marriage, there's still resistance in Alabama from judicial officials. Governor Bentley said it's the law, we're going to follow it, but there's not full agreement on that. What do you think needs to happen on that?
Well, I think people will ultimately have to follow the law, and of course people have different understandings of what they're actually required to do. The probate judges and the court system and the legal system of Alabama will just have to decide what to do about that.
Do you think they need to go ahead and start following the law, or?
Well, they'll ultimately have to follow the law. That the question is what that means and exactly what that requires them to do. I guess they'll have to decide themselves and seek their own legal counsel.
Now, what kind of message are you giving today to these folks?
Well, I'm going to talk about the defense bill that I think was good. The fact that our delegation has worked well together, and I think we've got that on track. It's going to be a difficult move of the bill, though. We expect some problems unrelated to the substance of the bill that may slow down defense funding. I'm a little worried about that. We'll talk about Supreme Court rulings, maybe trade and budget issues that are important, I think, to the country.
You're on the Judiciary Committee. How important is, like in the next election, for the president to be the person that chooses, you know, a lot of people were disappointed with the decisions. Well, different president had been there, that could have gone the other way.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Presidential appointments of the judiciary is quite significant. And if you think about it, President Obama's now had 8 years. President Clinton had 8 years. President Bush had 8 years. I think if you were to have another Democratic president, you'd have for 8 years. That would be 16 years of Democratic appointments. And I think we'd see a lot more of the activist rulings we're seeing today. So it's critical to me that the next president appoint judges who understand they enforce law as it is, not as they might wish it to be. They're not to be activists. They're to be neutral umpires who call the balls and strikes regardless of the outcome of the game. That is so critical to the foundation of American law that I almost don't have words to express it. And I just thought that the creation of this marital right that's nowhere mentioned in the Constitution. Marriage has always been decided by the states. You know, the age of marriage was decided by the states. What a common law marriage is decided by the states. The federal government has never entered into that. And I think this was an overreach, and that's why it generated these tremendously aggressive and strong dissents. Because the judges, the 4 judges in the minority recognize this dramatic overreach. In my opinion, I don't think it's a little matter at all. I think it goes to the core of whether or not judges are neutral arbiters or active participants in political agendas.
Do you think any legislation is needed in the wake of that ruling to protect religious liberties for businesses or anybody else that disagrees with the ruling?
That's an absolute, I think that's a good question. There's an absolute concern that the next thing you would see is that the court somehow declare that private businesses, church schools, churches might be required to meet standards that have never been applied to them before and go beyond anything that is possible. That's not certain from this ruling, but it is possible. And one administration official, when asked about that a few months ago, refused to answer one way or the other. So I think it definitely is a matter of uncertainty. I think legislation could be beneficial. Senator Mike Lee of Utah has offered language that protects religious liberty, and I've supported that. I think it's a good bill. So I definitely think we should proceed in that direction. Because there's an uncertainty out there. It should not be. We should not be in this position, but I'm afraid we are. Okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Good.